okay. I'm totally fine.
This drawing has been dubbed by the artist. What you're about to hear is him talking. Feel free to mute and listen to music. You have been warned. Thank you. Hello everybody, this is Matt here and with another video for you. This time from the screen is Overwatch, and well, I hope you enjoy it, and while I'm drawing I'm going to be talking to you after I've actually drawn this, so I won't actually be talking to you about the video itself, except that it was asked for by my good friend Crystal Tedro of Gaming Kyodai. If you haven't watched them, they have a YouTube video where they do games, and they are Gaming Kyodai. If I said that right, I don't know, but they're quite entertaining. So have a pub over there if you can. Anyway, what am I going to talk about? I never know what to talk about because I'm not much of a talker, to be honest with you, and you know, so it gives me a lot of trouble to kind of think of things off the cuff, unless it's kind of being humorous or people know my kind of humour, you know, or I've got a good topic that I'm really passionate about that I really want to talk about, but I tend not to really say a lot. So, but I'm trying to get better, and I'm trying to think of topics that I can talk about, and well, this is why I always ask. So if you ever have any topics you want me to talk about, or there's something you want to know, my opinions, or you want to ask me a question about my work, I'll pick what I want. I mean, I do a lot of things, like I watch videos on YouTube about theories, you know, like game theory, film theory, Star Wars theories, you know, and I come up with my own theories of that. So if you'd like to hear some of those, just, you know, comment below after you've watched the video, or while you're watching the video, whenever's most convenient for you. I also like to do things like do voices, you know. I like, this is my normal voice, but I like doing voices. I love accents, I love voices. I'd like to be a voiceover artist, you know, but it's not something I've really gotten into a lot. I do some acting with friends and in college when I did filmmaking, but you know, and I like doing voices for those, and I like messing around, I like joking around, and you know, I do a lot of voices. Like I like doing very posh voices, or very posh, or good evening sir, how may I help you? Yeah, being very random. I like doing other things like American accents, and like the old gold miner. I got gold in those mines. And you're probably thinking, oh my god, this guy is so crazy. What is he talking about? Why does he talk in such stupid languages and such stupid voices? It sounds nothing like them. Well, I just like doing them, you know. It's like I try to do other things, like the hardest one I do, well, hardest on my throat I should say, is the Inspector Gadget claw voice. It's like, next time, Gadget. Stuff like that, and I could do better voices. Even off the cuff, sometimes I have to think about the voice before I do it, so they don't always sound exactly as I want them to the first time. But yeah, I like doing voices and stuff like that. I like making videos. I like drawing, obviously. If you know me at all, if you've seen any of my videos or anything on my DeviantArt, you probably have guessed that I like to draw. But it takes time, and you know, it's projects. I like to do so many things, but it's finding the projects that people would be interested in seeing that I'd like to put the effort into. Because I like, you know, people say, oh, just do what you like, Matt, do what you like. And yeah, that's all fair and good, and I do, and I try. But I like to entertain, that's me. And I like, if people want to see something, I like to give it to them, you know. If it's something that they really want, you know, I like to give it to them. That's why I like doing commissions and doing requests. It's for what people want, and so that's what I want to give them. And in a way, that's kind of why I do Narahina and stuff like that. And speaking of that, I asked if anyone had any questions on Patreon and on my Twitter. If you don't know what they are, they will be in the comments below, or well, the links below. Just click on them and then you can go there and either be a Patreon or just subscribe to my Twitter and get quite a lot of feeds and stuff like that. So because I usually update myself quicker on Patreon, just to kind of like type up and say, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what's happened, and stuff like that on Twitter. So if you ever want to know what's going on more regularly, I'll be on Twitter, and you can always ask me questions on there, and I can either answer them there, or I might save them for another video, like today. But on Patreon, Arnold, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry mate, but Arnold Boudier, he says, I was thinking maybe you could talk about your view on Narahina at the beginning and why you began it, and how you see their relationship today with NHC, or why you made it. You know, he thinks I'm quite passionate about it, basically, and he wants to know why. First of all, I started watching Naruto first as the anime. I saw it while I was at home. I was, just flicking around. I like cartoons, so I was going through cartoons, and I was on Fox Kids, I think it was. It was the Fox Kids channel. I think it became Toonami after a while. And I was watching like stuff like Sailor Moon, and I was Dragon Ball on Cartoon Network, and other shows as well that I watched. And I saw something called Naruto, and I don't think it was the first episode I watched it, because I think I missed the first episode, but I think it was like it was definitely like one of the first couple of episodes. I managed to catch the first episode on a repeat, like the next day or something. It only just began, so I mean I was quite regular on them, so I hadn't missed it long. And I caught the repeat, and I just watched it, and I like Naruto. And at first, I didn't really ship anybody. I thought Sakura was annoying, Sasuke was annoying. I like Naruto, I liked Kakashi. Then as the first arc went through, the Zabuza arc, well, I think it's the second arc really, but the Zabuza arc went through, and I started really enjoying the characters. I really liked Naruto, and I thought, Sasuke was better, he was developing, and Sakura wasn't as annoying as originally she was to me, as they kind of got closer and knitted as a team. And I thought that was really good, I quite like that. And I almost started pairing them. I quite liked them as a pairing, but there was a couple of scenes where most people would kind of think, oh, this is a shipping moment, this is a shipping moment. I saw more as a brother-sister moment. It's like, he needed his help. She thought he was annoying, but she wanted to help him. And to be honest, the amount of times that's happened between me and my sisters, that's what connected me as that. Oh, that's a brother-sister moment. So I in a way, I couldn't. I've never minded drawing them together. As a couple or in hentai scenarios, but I've never really made them a big pairing. So I paired her with Sasuke more than anything. I thought, oh, let her have her dream. He won't go, but I never really paired him with anybody. I mean, then there was more characters introduced as the Chunin arc began. Ino, I thought, was going to end up being one of these kind of shopaholic, kind of Californian girls. It's like, oh, I like to shop, I like to buy things. I quite liked her. As the series went on, I quite liked her. I mean, I ended up liking all the characters pretty much, except for Sasuke. He kept going up and down for me. I was like, I don't think Kishimoto actually knew how to write Sasuke. He knew where he wanted Sasuke to go, but I don't think he kind of figured out how to actually get him there and make him a hero as well as a bad guy. So I think he went up and down all the time. But then we kind of met 1010. I really like 1010 because I like the kind of the physical girls that, it's like it's kind of sexy when a girl knows how to handle a knife like nothing. It's like, oh yes, I can twirl it around my finger. I thought, yeah, that's actually quite hot. But but then you meet Hinata, and she's this cute, shy girl. And, oh, you just want to kind of cuddle her, and you just want to kind of hold her, and then you find out, oh, she's got a thing for Naruto. Ooh. And yeah, I wasn't sure about pairing them at first. I kind of mildly paired them just because I thought it might be cute. He was alone, she was a quiet girl, and I can imagine all these awkward scenarios between them. Like she wants to ask, she asks, they actually go on a date, and she says nothing, he says nothing, because he doesn't know what to say to her because he's really interested in Sakura. She doesn't know what to say to him because she's absolutely super shy. So they kind of have these quiet moments, and then they just kind of culminate where they just hang out together, have this kind of fun, this silent fun. And I thought that was quite cute. And then it was before the semi-finals when they were having those matches in the building in the middle of the Forest of Death, and she gave that ointment to him. I thought, that's quite caring. She doesn't care about like the rest. Everybody was like, oh, I'm against them. Everybody's against each other. But she didn't really care. I thought that's really admirable. That's really nice. I quite like that about her. And then the way she fought against Neji, not because she had something against Neji, but because she wanted to prove something to Naruto. She wanted to prove herself worthy of his love, and you could see that he kind of had respect for her in that one, and he worried for her, and it was more than a friend at that point. Just for a moment, he liked this girl that was facing off somebody that he would yet come to face, but he knew was strong, and in a way, it was a plot point. It was something that Naruto would want to fight against later. It was a setup of a bad guy, essentially. The moment where you get this guy who's pretty much angry at the world, taking down the cute, innocent girl just because he can, it sets up the bad guy. And it gives somebody for Naruto to fight against. I mean, he didn't really want to hurt anybody, but at the same time, he would never have had that push, I don't think, if not for that moment. But I think later on, when she basically does it again, in the Shippuden, when she saves him from pain, she fights her hardest, and it's all for him. And I was like, but I mean, that wouldn't come for later. But at the time, I thought, she does this just for him. This is powerful. She's literally killing herself just to prove to him as well as herself that she is worthy of him. And that really made me fall in love with Hinata in that respect, because she's shy on the outside but has this inner strength, and in a way I feel that's a bit like me. I'm a very shy person. I don't really talk a lot. I don't really go out a lot because I'm not super social. Most of my social engagements have always been because of friends. It's usually, oh, come on out, mate, come on, come have a beer, come have a drink, get together, well, let's do this, let's do that. And that's been me. And in a way, it inspired me a lot to kind of push forward in comics. I mean, I was at college, I think it was just after college. I was in college when this first started, and when Naruto first started, I think. I can't remember, because I finished in 2005, but I'd have to check it up to see when it was actually released in England. But I was in college, I'd done a lot of filmmaking, and I was looking for work at the time, but I wasn't having very much luck, so I was either unemployed or working in a shop, which I kind of really found annoying, because not annoying because I could do the job. I was very good at the job when I was in the shop, but I always found it was a bit too boring for me, because I'm constantly always trying to think of things, and till work I found boring. I didn't mind shelf stacking because I always had time to think, or I could listen to music while I did it. We weren't really supposed to, but you can, everybody did. But that was when I used to work in a shop. But I kind of wanted to get into movies and stuff like that, but because I couldn't, I ended up doing a lot of drawing. I mean, I'd been drawing since I was a kid anyway. It was mainly kind of cartoony Beano style or Asterix style, or I kind of touched upon Marvel and DC styles, but I found them very hard, and I wasn't really into drawing that much to really want to go out there and and learn it. And I wish I had, to be honest. I would have been far further along in my drawing at the time. But then again, if I'd done that, I probably wouldn't have gone into filmmaking. And the reason I went into filmmaking wasn't to actually make films, it was to write TV shows, because I loved stuff like Doctor Who and Star Trek and Stargate, and I wanted to write for TV because I was a big film and TV buff. But I always thought films were too niche, films were too restrictive on storylines, and to be honest, I think they're getting even more restrictive because a lot of plots in movies these days are kind of terrible, and you know, they kind of speed through things. That's why extended editions tend to be better than original cuts, in my opinion. It's because they've got more time, and a lot of writers, and I wanted to be a writer, but a lot of writers these days, they get given, oh, you got 6 months, we got an idea for a film, you got 6 months to write it, and they do their best. And I mean, writers, you know, if anybody writes, sometimes if you're on a deadline, it's very difficult. In the olden days, people used to write a script and send it in. It's like, there's a script here. Okay, then we need changes. And you've got 6 months to make changes, to improve a script. But it's not really like that much like that anymore. That's why a lot of good films are written by writers who spend the time. They spend a year or two writing a film. Or, you know, if you've got an adaptation of a film. I mean, I'm not a big fan of adaptations. I mean, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit films, brilliant adaptations. I mean, I've been a Tolkien fan for years, but... You know, but there were a lot of changes, a lot of things were left out, a lot of things were added, especially to The Hobbit. There was a ton of stuff added to The Hobbit that wasn't in there and altered. But I thought it was a brilliant adaptation. And I think I'm going off point. But anyway, yeah, I was a writer. Anyway, and I was getting into anime a lot. I mean, I was watching anime pretty much constantly, as well as doodling. Because in college, that's when I really started getting into anime and manga drawing. I mean, I've been watching anime and manga for many years, since I was a kid. I didn't always know that it was anime and manga, but it was the style that I rather enjoyed more than Warner Brothers and the Looney Tunes and Disney and stuff like that. I mean, I like their styles, but I kind of prefer this anime style. I mean, I grew up watching Getter Robo because we had a couple of videos like that, and there was other ones, we called the Star Avengers here, but it was called Getter Robo, which I didn't actually learn until about 4 years ago that it was called Getter Robo originally. I was like, excuse me. For years I've been looking for it online. So what is this show? And it was very difficult to kind of get any answers, like Star Avengers, and it would come up with some other names I'd never even heard of, and it was quite hard to find. And then one day I found this link that says Star Avengers is the English name of Getter Robo Go, or whatever it was, because it was actually the second season that we had with the new team member that was called Fell Tip in the dubbed version. He was called something else in the original Japanese. And I actually ended up getting the series of Getter Robo and watching them, and lovely. I mean, I loved them. It's 1970s, 1970s and 1980s anime, but I love them still, and I still love anime and stuff like that. And because I wasn't doing much, I mean, I liked comics. I'd always liked comics. I was a big fan of DC and Marvel growing up, especially the Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and X-Men comic books. I mean, I've got tons of comic books now, and tons of manga books now, because I started collecting manga books while I was in college. And I started drawing. I had a mate who drew manga. He'd been drawing manga a couple of years more than I have, and he was pretty good. So he kind of inspired me to get going, and yeah, I developed. He was good at drawing things big, but he couldn't draw things very small. He even said to me once, he was amazed at how I could draw things smaller than he could. But then again, I couldn't draw very big like he could. He could draw poster size. If I tried to draw poster size, I'd be like, I'm confused, I don't know what to do, it looks stupid, I don't know. I mean, I'm getting better. I think I've gotten better at it now, but at the time, I mean, I'm self-taught on everything when it comes to art and whatnot. I've bought books, and I learned from looking at images online and stuff like that. I mean, plus anime games as well that I used to doodle those. Again, I wasn't very good, but I kept practicing and referencing and stuff like that. But at the same time, I was also doing stuff like computer graphics, filmmaking, editing, sound recording, acting, writing a lot. I mean, I've written so many films and TV series scripts. I mean, I've still got them all around. I've never actually done anything with them, which is quite stupid, to be honest. But I was making films in college, and I'll have to find them out, maybe try and get them downloaded off the discs and put on YouTube or something, I don't know. But I got into stuff like animation as well. I wanted to get into animation, and that's where the drawing really came in. But because I couldn't find a job in TV and film, and I'd been to several interviews and never gotten the job because I was so fresh out of college and I didn't have much proper experience in the industry, only stuff that I'd done for personal or for projects. And then there was comic books. I mean, so I started drawing little comic books, little comic strips, mainly random stuff that never really kind of came out and either scrapped or whatnot. And then there was adult comics that I drew very randomly. If you've been on to my blog, you've probably seen a lot of the old school stuff that I did. Very kind of rubbish, but I quite liked them. And I liked writing more than the drawing, so it didn't really bother me that I wasn't that good. But then, because I'd become so enamored with the Naruto and Hinata characters, I was searching around on those, and I saw that there were a few comics out for them, and there was one about a Narahina date, and I thought, oh, this is quite cute, this is, and I want to write a date thing for them, so that's what I did. But it kind of turned into something more, because when I write, I like cause and effect, so I have to write kind of, this happened first, and then the date happened, so that's why I wrote this mission. This is how they kind of, he saved her life, and this is kind of how he decided that he liked her, and there was this moment, and and then they go on their date. But I kind of got bored with the idea of just focusing on the character, so I decided, I'll put in a little extra plot to it. So that's why I introduced the original bad guys I had in the first chapter as a recurring bad guys that would come back, and I started all this other plot stuff, and and it went on, and it was just for practice. I thought, I don't want to do this forever, but I was enjoying it, people were enjoying reading it, I loved writing it, and it just kept going and going, and it was helping me improve because I was drawing daily now. I mean, I hadn't been drawing daily for a long time, if ever. I'd usually just pick up a pen and paper and draw maybe once or twice a day, maybe 10-20 minutes. And then all of a sudden I'm drawing a couple of hours a day on top of doing all my other stuff. And it was fun, and I've continued to enjoy the characters. I've continued to enjoy reading about them, watching them in the movies and the TV series. I mean, I've got to catch up on the series, so I don't know how much goes on in the series with them, but I've watched the movies, and I think they've just gotten cuter over time. And when they became a couple, I was like, yes, finally, oh, brilliant, and I was all excited for it, and I was happy that Kishi did that. I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh, this was rushed, this suddenly happened, and in a way, I kind of agree that it did. I mean, there was several points where Kishi wrote in moments between the two, like when she saved him and she said that she loved him, but then she never got an answer back to that. That kind of annoyed me, But I think in the end, I liked the film The Last and how they did it, that it was a bit of a cop-out as well, because it was like, oh, by the way, Naruto, this all happened in case you forgot, and they threw images at him. It's like, oh yeah, she likes me, I suddenly love her, and I kind of like, why couldn't you have done it better? But there was things there. I mean, the fact was he needed a big push and a reminder. Excuse me, just a drink there. And because of that reminder, he knew that he'd already liked her and that he loved her, and that's, he's always tried to protect her, and you could see that through the series if you look, that he's always cared for her. And it always goes back to that first moment, I think, in the Chunin exams when she gets beaten up, or when she's waiting at the post before while he's on his way to the finals, and she gives him that support. he's always seen that. And I think the words when he said before he left that he thinks she's weird, but he kind of likes that, you know. And I thought that kind of sums up their relationship, that he's so focused on one thing that he may know something in the back of his head and say things without thinking, but that's where his heart was, in his words, not in his head, because he can say things that come straight from the heart. And that's been a character trait for him, since the beginning, that he speaks from the heart and not always from the head. And so when he says to Hinata that, oh, you're weird, but I kind of like that, he's saying to her from the heart he likes her, you know. And whether he realises himself that what he meant was probably he really liked her as a girl is something else, because in his head he saw Sakura, the pretty girl that he wanted, and that was she was in his head, not in his heart, you know, not in that sense. I mean, you could see that from when when she said she loved him and he called her a liar because he couldn't feel it in his heart. In his head it didn't even make sense. You know, he'd been trying all this time and nothing. You know, for her to suddenly change her mind is crazy. But I think they've endured through a lot, and especially for me, and as I write them and continue to write them, I hope I keep them in character and hope I can push them forward as well. Because, from what the rumours I've heard, there's the Boruto series that's going to come out. There's going to be a Boruto manga, I think I've heard. And so you might see more development with Naruto and Hinata in that. You may even have some flashbacks to early years, like when Boruto was born, or Boruto was very young and they're still getting used to things, or very early marriage. I mean, I'd love to see something when he finds out she's pregnant with Boruto. I mean, I've got ideas in my head for all these kind of things, you know, Naruto finding out she's pregnant, and stuff like that, and the way he reacts. I've got my thoughts, my ideas, and hopefully as NHC progresses and the stories progress, I can get them out. So, I mean, I've got a lot of story ideas yet to come. So, I mean, people always ask me, you know, how long are you going to be doing NHC for? And I keep telling them I don't know, because I've got so many ideas. I could probably keep this going for another 5-10 years. I don't know. I mean, eventually I'd like to go into just pure original stuff, but I think even if I did, I would still be doing Narahina stuff, because I just love the couple and I can't see myself stopping doing them, you know. I think if Kishimoto ever stops and says, okay, there's going to be no more Naruto, even no more Naruto animes, no more Naruto stuff, that's it, no more, I would still continue. I mean, when I heard that the Naruto series was ending, I knew I was going to continue afterwards, but I was a little kind of unsure about where I was going with it, or if I would continue, because as I continue, people will become less and less interested. And as I said at the beginning of this, I do things a lot more for people than I do for myself. And if people aren't interested, I kind of get less interested. I mean, it's the kind of things like some of my original stuff, like Onagi and VOA. People aren't as interested in it as I would like. I mean, there are people interested in it, and I'm very happy about that, and I do want to get back to them, but I'm not as pushed to do it as I am with NHC. And yeah, so yeah, I think I've talked for for a while now. It says by my recording equipment I've been talking over half an hour, so I don't know if I'm going to edit this yet, so this might be the full half hour or plus, or this might be a cut down version, editing it, making it a bit tighter, because there's a lot of gaps. I think, you know, I might cut some things out, I don't know, but hopefully I'll just get this straight on. And yeah, that's all for now. So that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video and me talking. If so, hit the like and subscribe button below. That always helps me. Likes help, subscribes help. I really want to get a lot of subscribers, you know. Hopefully, if I can get a lot, I might start making this quite more regularly, because I can actually monetize later on. Because what I do is I kind of, my job at the moment is unemployment, but I am doing this as my way of getting money. That's why I take commissions, why I do Patreon. This is actually helping me survive. This gets me money for shopping, for equipment, for pens, pencils, anything that breaks down I can replace. Eventually I want to get better lighting. I want to get actually make more videos and animations and stuff like that. I want to get a new LCD tablet so I can actually draw on the screen, and hopefully my digital art will improve. But everything helps. So yeah, you can also follow me on Twitter at MattCave83. That's on Twitter. And there's also Patreon. I've got all the links are below. I appreciate every follow, subscription and watch. It keeps me going, and I feel free to comment or ask questions, and I will do my best to answer what I can. So until next time, and as always, be well and have a great day.